You're extremely happy with her, and you can't wait to get married. And what's the date?
March the 11th.
March the 11th.
That'll be on my 22nd birthday is when I'm getting married.
The day has finally come. Dakota and Felicity have broken up.
I can't wait to marry you. And yes, guys, we are doing good. I'll show you how I get whenever he gets on my level. I pick him up like this. I go down and I lift. Oh!
I'm no longer with Dakota Michael Harper. I am with a new man. I've completely changed. I vape now.
Controversial couples drama seems to be the trending thing on TikTok nowadays, and Wild doesn't even begin to describe some of the stories we've heard.
There's not much to say. Sometimes the silence guides the mind to move to a place so far away. The goosebumps start to raise the minute that my left hand meets your waist.
Take Only Jayus and Maddie Westbrook, for instance, who went from being one of TikTok's favorite couples to becoming sworn enemies. Their breakup was a mess, with allegations of stalking, cheating, interactions with minors, and actual lawsuits. And whilst we're trying to soak that in, Phoenix shut down the entire app by announcing her engagement with Black Lemurs just 5 months after he completed a 13-year prison sentence. But somehow, Dakota and Felicity managed to eclipse that, not necessarily because their story is worse, but because they are their own worst enemy. From throwing orange peels at elderly neighbors to cheating with a convicted sex offender for money, they became famous for making bad choices time and time again.
South Carolina was not because of him. Was because of Robert Fleming. Okay? I'm not with that man. I used him for money.
But beyond romantic instability, bad behavior, and infidelity, these lovebirds have a major problem. And it's none other than chronic ingratitude. One time, a TikTok influencer, popularly known as Corkal, stepped in to help them. And they absolutely frustrated his efforts. They abandoned the apartment he rented for them and made TikTok videos dissing him.
What? It's that get right, huh?
I know what it is. That get right.
Interestingly, they had similar issues with another TikToker named China Doll. China opened the doors of her family house to Dakota and Felicity. She also fed them on multiple occasions while they were staying with her. But what she got in return was beyond shocking. They littered the entire house with dirt, vomit, and poop, and even disrespected her 80-year-old grandmother.
And Dakota literally looked at my 80-year-old grandmother, and when she said clean it up, he told her to eat shit.
This is the story of how two lovers kept misusing opportunities and pushing their luck until they had nothing left to push. The relationship between Dakota and Felicity was messed up right from the start, and trust me, it gets darker and crazier with every turn. But to unravel it all, we need to go back to a significant moment in Dakota's life. So it's 2023, and 18-year-old Dakota is discovering how tough it is to be an adult living with cocaine syndrome. In case you're wondering, that's a rare disorder that can cause premature aging, sensitivity to light, and dwarfism. Those symptoms manifested in Dakota through his small frame and shaky steps, which made him look like a cute 11-year-old. But even that cuteness wasn't enough to keep him in his parents' house forever. According to reporters, Dakota fell out with his parents and ended up living on the streets of West Virginia shortly after turning 18. And then, fate led him straight to an up-and-coming rapper named Crazy K. Now, here's the interesting part. Like Dakota, Crazy K also had a broken relationship with his parents. In fact, rumors circulated that he was kicked out of the house for substance use. And somehow, the universe connected the two of them. Due to his health condition, Crazy K originally thought Dakota was a kid.
So everybody keep asking how I met Dakota. I seen him, gave him a ride. He hopped in the car seat. Wonderful. Thought he was a kid.
From then on, Crazy K starts treating Dakota as an adult. Occasionally, the two men would make content and hang out.
I never thought I'd see my way to be one ride for me. She said she'd die for me, wouldn't even cry for me. We was in this thing together, yeah, you promised me. We can run away.
In the process of doing this, Dakota was introduced to many of the toxic influences of Crazy K. Wild parties at strip clubs, exposure to gang-affiliated friends, and
That's how they get from pain.
We're gonna tap out first.
Dude, I'm going all the way
That's
down.
first.
See,
You're tapping out first.
Dakota?
awkward challenges that pushed Dakota far beyond his physical limits. On top of that, they went from shooting funny, harmless videos to making demeaning content where Dakota was sometimes portrayed as a baby and physically manhandled.
I heard somebody outside. No, the fucking Dakota. My baby.
Dakota didn't seem that bothered though. He flowed with the vibe and enjoyed the money that Crazy K would occasionally give him until the unexpected happened. By unexpected, I mean Crazy K woke up one day and accused Dakota of stealing his money and threw him out.
I always knew one day me and Dakota would depart.
Alright, Crazy K. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I'm gone, bro.
Alright, my man.
Thankfully, Dakota didn't have to return to the streets. Instead, he found an abandoned house where he lived alongside other struggling people. Now, calling this apartment perfect would be generous. It lacked basic amenities like heat, most of the roommates were thieves in disguise, and some of them even used Dakota as an errand boy. But somehow, he found a way to manage the situation. The one thing he couldn't manage, though, was his lack of money, so he started begging on the streets. And it was during that period that he had a chance encounter with Jake Griffith, better known as Corkal.
You on TikTok? What's your name? Dakota? Nice to meet you, buddy. Are you hungry at all or anything? You hungry?
Corkal is a social media influencer in a unique niche. His content basically involves helping random people on the street or doing crazy pranks, filming it for his over 5 million followers across TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
What is that? Cookies! Nom nom!
The moment Corkal set his eyes on Dakota, something clicked inside him. He had helped some homeless people in the past, but this time was different. He wasn't just going to hand Dakota a few dollar bills. He was about to transform his life completely.
What are you doing, buddy?
Meet Dakota. I've seen him on TikTok before, and usually every time I see him, the video has millions of views. This is the first time I've ever met him, and it was while I was dressed up as an old man. And
The first few days and weeks after that unexpected meeting were all about Dakota and his needs. Corkal went on a shopping spree, buying him brand new phones, clothes, shoes, and even a custom-made car. Of course, every moment was filmed and uploaded to social media. And those videos didn't just wow the audience, they went viral, racking up millions of views. But at every step of the way, you could see that Corkal was respectful. He treated Dakota like a friend, not just a helpless man he had met on the street.
So remember how I got Dakota a new phone? Well, he texted me from another number saying he has bad news. So I came over to see what's up. His phone was completely destroyed and would not come on. He was pretty upset, so I put his on the bike so we could go get a new one. So he got his brand new phone. Then he asked what we're gonna do next. So I took him to get some food. Then we went to Build-A-Bear. Please get me Dakota.
Hey, what up, blood? Hey.
For the first time in a while, Dakota looked genuinely happy. That's because he was getting all of the help he needed, mainly from Corkal, but also from other Good Samaritans like James Lee. James is one of Dakota's old-time friends, and although he never really appeared in his TikTok videos, he was a reliable support structure for Dakota. He occasionally gave him money, advice, and whatever else he could help with. But the best part is, his assistant did not always interfere with what Corkal was doing. For Dakota, this was a win-win situation, and he couldn't be happier with how things had turned out. But he wasn't out of the woods yet, especially because he still lived in that abandoned house with roommates who had questionable characters. One day, after Corkal dropped him off, things got out of control. Dakota locked out 2 of the guys in the house, and in retaliation, they pushed him down the stairs. The impact of that fall left him with a significant cut on the side of his head, and with no one else to call, he reached out to Corkal. Corkal made sure Dakota got the medical treatment he needed, carefully tending to him until he was back on his feet.
Okay, see your new haircut.
Yes.
You see the scar. Wow. It looks a lot better than what it did, though.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know what happened, you want to summarize what happened?
Basically, I had a brain bleed and
And how did you get a brain bleed?
there was 2 people, they named Chew and Decay. They threw me down this.
After that terrifying experience, it was clear that Dakota could never return to that abandoned house ever again. So, Corkal started the process of relocating him to a proper house, but this wasn't a quick fix. Dakota needed a valid ID card, and a few other logistics needed to be sorted out first. While that was ongoing, Corkal lodged him in a hotel, and they continued their routine of making videos. And this is where things start to get interesting. During his stay at the hotel, Dakota met Felicity, a 21-year-old woman who was staying in one of the rooms. They exchanged pleasantries, and she asked to pet Dakota's dog, named Socks. Something magical was brewing in the air.
So y'all met yesterday morning, and you're already in love? Wow. So do you think it was love at first sight? Well, see.
The speed at which their love story was moving was alarming, but Felicity didn't mind, and neither did Dakota. If anything, he was awestruck by the attention he was getting from her. And to make it even better, both fully supported the relationship.
girlfriend. So the next day I got him a haircut because he has a big date. I even let him pick out some.
He paid for Dakota's haircut and even helped him pick out flowers. The man who had given Dakota a second chance of life was now helping him find love.
He was super excited to see her. When we got back to the hotel, she wouldn't answer her phone.
With flowers in hand and Corkal playing hype man in the background, Dakota arrived, hoping to pick up Felicity for their first date. But she wasn't answering the phone, so he walked down to her hotel room, and she wasn't there either.
I used to live downstairs. I'm a boy.
That obviously didn't go as planned, but everything worked out eventually. Felicity got the flowers, she reached out to Dakota, and before you knew it, they finally went on their first date. Normally, first dates are the time for awkward questions and playing the waiting game to see who will break the ice first. But this one was different. Felicity spoke to Dakota with an unusual level of familiarity, almost as if they had known each other for years rather than hours. And while that created a relaxed atmosphere for the lovebirds, it came at a cost for Corkal, who had to pay for everything Felicity demanded. She got a new outfit and matching necklaces for herself and Dakota. In hindsight, that was a red flag because it suggested that she may have entered the relationship for other reasons than love. But at the time, it didn't seem like it. Moreover, her arrival into Dakota's life coincided with a lot of positives. In just a few months, he had gone from being homeless to renting an apartment. He had found a genuine friendship in Corkal, and now he believes he'd found the woman of his dreams. Life was enjoyable again for Dakota, but for his dog Socks, the reality was different. Right from when he lived in that abandoned house, Dakota had always mistreated Socks. In fact, one time, the dog playfully approached him, and he snapped at it. Fast forward to the present, Corkal believed Dakota had too much personal stuff to deal with, and didn't really have what it would take to properly care for a dog. So he suggests that they put him up for adoption. Fortunately, Dakota agreed, and Socks got a new home. But the drama in Dakota's new apartment was just about to begin. Shortly after moving in, one of the people from his old abandoned house started sneaking in, and Dakota never thought to stop him. To make it worse, he didn't mention it to Corkal. As a result, this man literally had unrestricted access to the house. He would come around and behave indecently in plain view, stealing surveillance gadgets that Corkal had installed and stuffed the apartment with bags of trash. This went on for a while until Felicity finally opened up to Corkal about it.
Seriously?
Yes, and I caught his bitch ass.
You see, Dakota has a problem. He keeps letting this guy come over to his apartment.
Although disappointed, Cole took the time to have a serious discussion with the couple. He tried to make them see the risks involved in allowing someone like that to hang around with them. And for once, he hoped that his words would be enough to fix the growing problems. But just as he was about to leave, he heard a knock at the door, and what happened next would prove that the situation was far worse than he had imagined.
I stole it off of his door. And right as I was about to leave, I hear this. Can you picture your face with this?
No, take picture of me, man. No.
Hey, watch out, back up, man.
No.
Back up.
You don't take a picture.
That was Jimmy, trying to gain entrance into the apartment, but clearly wasn't having it. The police were later called in, but by then, Jimmy had disappeared into thin air. And although he never came back, Dakota and Felicity found new ways to create trouble for themselves. First off, Felicity came up with a story about how she had a fight with her mom and had to move out.
Told me to get out of the house. She's like, this is what you get for being the horriblest, worst daughter ever.
At this point, Dakota's apartment was already her second home. But this issue was her perfect excuse to move in permanently and become the woman of the house. And from that moment on, the couple literally moved from one problem to another. One time, viewers spotted what appeared to be drug paraphernalia in one of their videos, suggesting that someone in the house was using illicit substances. Another time, Felicity got herself into a complicated situation with a total stranger named Roy. According to Felicity's account of the event, Roy asked her to help him babysit his dog overnight, but somewhere along the line, he tried to move funny.
I was facing towards the air conditioning area.
Yeah.
And he grabbed me by the waist and started pulling me towards him, and I told him no because I have boundaries when I don't know anybody. And he literally said, well, I'm gonna treat you like a lady.
Eventually, she reached out to Corkal, who arrived to pick her up just in time before the situation went out of hand.
This time,
You're fine.
I'm cold. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for everything. It's so
You're
early.
good.
I just got released in.
You did?
Yeah, my phone's about to die. I didn't bring a jacket at all. I didn't know how long it was gonna be.
I bet the heat is heat on.
I didn't know how long it would be.
So, you want to tell me what happened? What happened?
Let me catch my breath. I was running.
At this point, it was clear that these incidents weren't coincidences. They were the predictable results of two people who had quietly developed a habit of putting themselves in situations that required someone else to save them. But here's what makes it worse. The more Corkal tried to rescue them, the deeper they dug themselves in with their words, actions, and inactions. By her own admission, Felicity claims she has 17 exes, which is quite a lot. But one particular name stood out from that long list, and it's Jacob. Apart from being one of her numerous ex-partners, Jacob is Felicity's current best friend. Sounds strange, right? Well, that's exactly how she described him every time his name came up. And trust me, it happened more than once. Speaking of names, another alleged romantic partner whose name was mentioned multiple times around Felicity is Robert Edward Fleming. But what makes Robert's case more bizarre is that he isn't just a random lover boy. He is a 55-year-old sex offender. While most people wouldn't date someone with such a track record, Felicity didn't seem to mind. She admitted that there had been communication between them, but also mentioned that she was only entertaining him for money.
South Carolina was not because of him, was because of Robert Fleming. Okay? I'm not with that man. I used him for money.
More than anything else, the statement by Felicity opened a new can of worms that points to a deeper fracture in her relationship with Dakota, and possibly with Corkal. I mean, think about it for a second. Corkal has been solely responsible for their well-being. He paid for the house, and even bankrolled their first date. So the fact that Felicity was talking to another man purely for money raised serious questions. Was she implying that Corkal's help wasn't enough? I guess only she could answer that. Beyond the cheating scandal, Felicity also had this habit of randomly picking up Dakota from the ground and slapping his rear. And some viewers complained about it. This person said, "Listen, I know he's a small dude and all, but she gotta stop picking up her boyfriend as if he's her son." But as horrible as that looks or sounds, it's one of the couple's lesser problems, especially when you compare it to other issues like the public arguments and temporary separations that defined their relationship. At first, it started as a one-off thing, but soon it became a predictable cycle that their audience actually started anticipating. One minute, they were declaring undying love and talking about spending the rest of their lives together. The next minute, they were announcing a breakup, and Felicity was moving out to stay with a friend. As you'd imagine, Dakota wasn't pleased with the arrangement. In one of the letters he wrote during their many breakups, he said, "To Felicity, I am sorry we couldn't be together, but I'm the problem. If I could be of help to you, and then you might not be together, but I need you. You have more problems, and I love you. It wasn't your fault. I can't express my feelings." In another letter, he said, "To Felicity, I wish we could still to the point of you were lazy and etc. all day. Never could help a little bit, and I never cheated on you. I truly from my heart loved you, and unlike you done to me. You before all what I tried to do to help you. We were just crossed out, just I think you lied on me. Your boyfriend, quote unquoted, had to be the one to take control and said I you. So I gave her 3 to 6 chances to see. Worst part is you're up and cheated on me. And now I am done with you, Felicity." But here's the irony in all of this. He wasn't really done. Despite being aware of Felicity's unfaithfulness, Dakota kept accepting her back. The pattern repeated itself so many times that at some point, he started providing regular updates about it. In fact, on one occasion, he announced their separation and reunion in the same post. Dakota and Felicity recently broke up after a big argument. They've been split for about 3 or 4 days now, but it seems like they're planning on getting back together. They're working out a new deal to see each other a little less and be more honest. I've been giving Dakota my best advice, but at the end of the day, it's his choice. Reading the last few lines of that post, you could tell that this was more than just a relationship update from Corkal. To put it simply, it seemed like he was advising Dakota to do something, but Dakota wasn't willing to do it. Now the question is, what could that be? Was he advising Dakota to separate from Felicity? Well, that was the consensus online, as many people concluded that Felicity was the problem. But another section of the audience was quick to point out that Dakota wasn't a saint himself. One TikTok user said, "We lived on Edgewood and we are close with his family. Dakota was approaching my baby sister in that way, and she was 11. He was 18 and 19. He is not a good person, disabled or not, that is not an excuse." Another user, apparently someone who knew the story of how he left his parents, said this, "From what I know, his family didn't want him around because he was doing bad things. He always says someone steals his bank card or it's locked. No, he gives it to drug dealers or promises things that he can't do and has to get a new one. He will get a phone, but he will sell or trade it. He does drugs and drinks. He's not a good person. He lies, steals, and does other bad things, and he uses people who show him kindness. Surprisingly, Corkal was also on the receiving end of criticisms.
I'm going down the Dakota and Felicity rabbit hole, and I have a few questions. Do they not have their own social media profiles? Because so far I haven't found any. And what does Corkal, whatever the guy's name is, what does he do?
However, there was a lot of support for Corkal in the comments. People really appreciated his help for Dakota and showed sympathy for the disappointment he felt. Strangely, Dakota himself chose to stay mute, and just when people thought the relationship couldn't get any messier, dropped a bombshell. I'm really worried Dakota might be slipping back into old habits. I know a lot of people have said just to leave them be, and I completely understand that. I just want to be there for them through this final stretch. They both agreed to let me help them find a caretaker, or somewhere they can get proper care and guidance. I'll keep supporting them with boundaries, and hopefully end things on a positive note. I just pray all our hard work wasn't for nothing. Now, those words were sort of in between, but they calmed the tension on social media a bit. Behind the scenes, though, nothing changed. According to several TikTok creators, Corkal visited the house one day, and instead of being welcomed, Dakota snapped. He reportedly ordered Corkal out of the house and made it clear he never wanted to see him again, and that was the last straw.
So Corkal just posted that he's done. No more handouts, no more friendship, no more Felicity. The man said he's focusing on himself, which is TikTok code for I'm tired of cleaning up other people's messes. Apparently, when Corkal stopped by Dakota's apartment to check in,
explaining his decision, Corkal wrote, "I've decided to take a step back from spending time with them unless it's truly important or they really need my help. I feel like I've done all I can, and there are things I just can't control. There are things I wish they'd do, but I can't force them. I'll still be there as a friend to both of them, but want to start focusing on helping others and getting back to interacting with the public again for upcoming posts." Before Dakota and Felicity could comprehend that message, another update arrived. And this time, it was a TikTok video from James Lee, revealing some of the crazy things that Dakota did to Corkal.
Like the clothes that Jake got him, sold. Everything that Jake has bought him outside of a phone and glasses, he has sold or traded for his substance of choice. He acted up, and he gave his apartment up to live back on the streets, to live the lifestyle he wanted to live.
During the video, James also showed screenshots of his chats where Corkal claimed his social media revenue dropped after he started featuring Dakota in his videos. But he chose to help anyways because he saw Dakota as a friend. Anyway, at the end of that expose, James said something that probably should interest Dakota and Felicity.
Now, I'm not saying I'll never help Dakota again, but it's going to be when he realizes that he needs actual help.
On paper, it sounded like an olive branch for Dakota and Felicity, but the immediate reality was that their safety net was gone. With Corkal and James no longer in the picture, their lives were about to take a different turn. But their exit also afforded Dakota and Felicity more freedom. All of a sudden, they were living entirely on their own terms. No guidance, no oversight, and definitely no accountability. It was like leaving two unsupervised children alone in a house. Something was always going to go wrong. In no time, Felicity began having explosive conflicts with the neighbor at Dakota's apartment complex. She reportedly screamed at them, and on one particularly alarming occasion, she lost complete control and threw orange peels at elderly tenants. Eventually, the landlord had enough of her troubles and banned her from the building.
TikTok, as they have both been the subject of numerous multi-million view videos. But it goes so much deeper than skits on camera, because the last 3 years have been an absolute roller coaster.
With nowhere else to go, Felicity moved back to the street, and then Dakota made the single decision that would undo everything Corkal had built for him. He walked away from the warmth, safety, and stability of his apartment to join Felicity on the street. Luckily for them, it wasn't long before they found help. A lady on TikTok named China offered to accommodate them in her family house. Soon enough, they had a comfortable bed, a stable environment for content, and regular meals. All for free. Fate had handed them yet another lifeline, but somehow Dakota and Felicity managed to ruin it again. They made videos dissing Corkal, the same man who, just weeks earlier, had been their biggest benefactor. Meanwhile, it didn't take long before they showcased that same ungrateful behavior to China. According to reports, Felicity had multiple fallouts with China, and even attempted to organize a mob against her.
This drama just keeps getting crazier and crazier, because I have a message that allegedly shows where Felicity is asking someone else if they're coming to fight China Doll.
Dakota, for his part, didn't have the physical strength to participate in that kind of mayhem, but he made his presence felt in other ways. According to China, he littered the floor with all sorts of disgusting things, including poop, and his excuse was that he couldn't always make it to the toilet.
I gave you all a place to stay, and you all destroyed, and wouldn't pick up one thing. I'm talking feces in the floor, on the steps, in the whole bedroom floor, on the bed, throw up on the bed. And Dakota literally looked at my 80-year-old grandmother, and when she said clean it up, he told her to eat shit.
With all of this evidence out in public, the decision to evict Dakota and Felicity was an easy one for China to make. But she didn't do it quietly. She filmed it for the whole world to see.
So you're not going to apologize for putting that all over the internet, trying to set me up to be fought? I just wonder when you did it. Did you do it when I took you to Gabe's to get your nails done? When I took you somewhere? Like, when did you do it?
And sure enough, there were a lot of reactions on social media. Now those reactions were valid, but the real issue at that point wasn't just about what China did. It was about a pattern, a deeply entrenched pattern of two people who had repeatedly misused great opportunities and burned every bridge extended to them. And now, the chickens had finally come home to roost. Within hours of leaving China's place, Felicity was already asking for help on TikTok.
Looks like China Doll has came to the same conclusion that Corkal did, and she is kicking Dakota and Felicity to the curb according to her last post. Specifically what she wrote in the description of the post.
We're out in the middle of nowhere right now. China's not feeding us. We just got kicked out of the house. So now we're walking. And we don't know where to go now. We need you to come get us.
Not long after, Dakota turned his Facebook page into a permanent Help Me bulletin board. And just like that, the couple's desperate situation became a topic of national discussion, at least on TikTok. But the crazy part is, they didn't even need to go through this stress. I mean, Dakota wasn't evicted. He chose to leave the apartment on his own. Also, according to Corkal, Felicity's parents wanted her to return home, and they were willing to allow Dakota to visit from time to time. But the couple preferred to stay on the street. Now, in dealing with their new reality, Dakota and Felicity employed different underhanded tactics, including scamming. Sometime in late 2025, they collected money to make cameo videos for people online, but more often than not, the videos never came. And the few times they actually fulfilled orders, they basically sent out clips of themselves saying or doing gibberish things. At this point, it was clear that the couple was going through some financial difficulty. But on a personal level, Dakota's predicament was about to get even more painful. That's because Felicity, the queen of his empire and the one person who remained as his support system, suddenly broke up with him. And in case you're wondering, she didn't break up because of arguments or suspicious visitors. She broke up because she was tired of living on the street. Yes, you heard that right. The same Felicity who had moved into Dakota's paid apartment. The same Felicity whose drama and destructive behavior helped push them both out of stability, was now abandoning him because he no longer had a home. The irony was impossible to ignore, and so were the consequences. From the highest of heights, Dakota plunged to the lowest of lows. But through that journey, one thing remained constant in his life, and that's Felicity. You see, despite publicly announcing she was done, Felicity never really moved on from Dakota, and eventually she returned.
So I'm back now. Me and Dakota are back. We had to take a little break from each other, but we're back. Say hi. Hi. And for everybody thinks
the same cycle that had played out countless times before was now repeating itself again. But this time, Felicity came up with an idea that nobody saw coming. In a shocking Facebook post, she wrote, "Me and my hubby are going out somewhere to have fun again, cause it's boring in the house that we live in right now, and we are supposed to be getting a 5-bedroom house. So hopefully we can get a 5-bedroom house and we can live together forever." One person mocked that online post, calling it the logic of two kindergarten crackheads. But some other fans have been doing more than just mocking. They've been tracking the couple's every move. As recently as February 28th of 2026, one Reddit user published a post of Dakota begging on the street. and local residents reporting him to the cops.
Yes, sir. Greenbrier Street and Washington Street East. Dakota is standing there holding a sign. Caller's called in, getting a charcoal being on him. You want us to clear? What do you advise?
You can clear it.
10-4, thank you.
Got a call to run by at McDonald's in East End, 1626 Washington Street East. They're advising an elementary age child standing alone with a sign, please help, need food.
Now, that's a sobering point in the story of Dakota and Felicity, but as grim as it looks, there still may be a silver lining somewhere on the horizon. And I'm not talking about James's offer from earlier in the video. I'm talking about Corkal. Apparently, despite everything that happened, Corkal has never fully stopped caring about Dakota and Felicity. Recently, he commented on Kiwi Tape's YouTube video about the couple, and his words were quite interesting. First, he admitted that his efforts to save the couple simply weren't enough. He also expressed hope that they will get the help they need. But if that help eventually comes, will Dakota and Felicity accept it? Well, only time will tell.